might as well jump to the indexes. This is something I do every week, and I also post these videos on YouTube for you to see the clips. So we've been talking about the indexes every week now, and we've been kind of breaking down what we've been seeing in the charts. So last week, S&P 500. This is on the daily. So yeah, so I told you it's been hanging out around this top for a while. And very interestingly enough, at the end of the day, well, today all the indexes broke out. Some of them pulled back, some of them didn't. But for this one, it broke all-time highs, and we're kind of sitting there. So we could see a little more upside. We'll see. But I think the important thing to note, as I said, there's typically laggard industries, or I mean sectors or indexes. So the Dow Jones is something that always lags. Excuse me, everyone. And so we saw the Dow Jones break out this week, and this is kind of what we've been talking about of all these dividend and these values, typically value stocks or the non-growth industries stocks start to break out. And it's because Dow Jones broke out, and it broke out healthy. So we'll see if we get a retest of this line next week. Typically, when something breaks out, it'll go up, it'll test the breakout, and if it goes back up, that means we have a bit more upside. So we'll be looking for a potential test down here at all-time highs and for basically like boop and then goes up again. But the Dow Jones has a lot of good momentum. The market stays going up, or parts of the market stay going up. The RUT 2000 is not looking good. So basically since February, it's been kind of hanging out at these highs. This is not a good look for this stock at all, for this index. Um, so I'm not feeling very confident in it, and we're starting to see this divergent market where the Dow is breaking out, but the RUT 2000 didn't, and those usually kind of start moving up together so far during the past year. So now we're seeing the Dow break up, but we're seeing the RUT stay flat. So that to me means that the RUT could potentially have a pullback relatively soon if it doesn't break out. The S&P 500 broke out, but that's because of stocks that are in the Dow. The Dow index and the S&P 500 ETFs share similar stocks in some industries, and so the S&P 500 got some love. The Dow Jones, that's what's breaking out. So for uh, the Nasdaq, we saw it break out all-time highs the last couple weeks, but it's been sitting up here, and then it broke down, and it tried to go back up, but something important. I have this trend line from a couple weeks ago. It hit the trend line. So if we see it hit this trend line and come back down, that's a bad sign. Similarly, like I said with the Dow Jones, is Dow Jones, if it comes down and bounces up, that's a positive sign. But if it breaks down, comes up and tests the resistance, and it doesn't break above it, that means more down. So Dow Jones, I'm kind of bullish on right now based on the breakout. The SPY, I personally think it's still going to be around this flat. I don't think there's much left upside left on the SPY, S&P 500, and I'm worried about the Russell 2000, and I'm worried about. I talked about it earlier, but one of the stocks that I like to play are these 3-time leveraged stocks for short-term movement, and so I think it's the SQQQ or QQQS. That's basically shorting the Nasdaq, so you're betting on it going downwards. So that's something that I'm looking to buy in the next couple of weeks. And I think that there's going to be Nasdaq. So that's a little breakdown. But like we keep mentioning, there's some divergence happening in the market. There's starting to be new sectors of the market that are winning, and then other sectors that aren't winning. One of the things we brought up earlier, but I want to bring it up one more time real quick, is the S&P basically 500 biotech companies. So biotechs have had a crazy run. If we look at last, basically a year ago, it was at $97 a share for this ETF. So we've seen a massive run for all the, but it hit this back in the beginning of February, hit 174, and ever since then it's been breaking down. So I mentioned last week that we kept seeing it hit this support, come up. This looks just like the NEO chart, but without the breakdown below yet. But it came down, it tried to test all lines for the heck of it. it broke down testing resistance, broke down. I'm telling y'all, write your resistance and support lines on your chart and you're going to see things in a whole different light. Broke down, tried to test. It's been hovering around here lately. And then this week we actually had a really bad, all the growth biology specifically, some of the ones that I like, is we had this, basically it hit this line 3 times since the end of, hit it once, hit it twice, hit 3 times. I thought it was going to break out here. Unfortunately, it hasn't. See, even tried to break below the MACD that I keep talking about. The green line went above the white line. It hit the 0, acting like it was going to break above, which would be a bullish sign. And ended up going back down below the white line. It's still in negative territory, so that's not for this. So there's a possibility. Bring up the chart. See, it went overbought twice. Basically double topped on the RSI, which is crazy. So here, this chart does not look. So let's put in some more support and resistance. So we have a lot of support around 122, which is basically where we're at, what we bounced off of, which is good. If we break below there, unless the market turns around, which this hurts my heart so much, but it looks like we're unless the market turns around at whole, we're looking like it might go back all the way to $100, which is 20% downside for biotech. So I would say 100 is probably the floor for biotechs, and it might sit there for a while. So just watch these different breakout points. 120, if it holds there, if it doesn't, we're going to look for a pullback somewhere between one. So this would be a potential buy zone if you want to be long biotechs, some of the names you like. But yep, I'll sum that up there. Nate, you bet.